Down a Liquidator coming back with another video. So it looked like some new information is coming out about the late, great Dale Earnhardt in regards to his chilling crash that ultimately took his life 25 years ago this year. Now, yesterday was the date that will live on forever, man. It was just a summer day. I remember being a kid hearing the news that Dale Earnhardt did not make it out of the hospital from that terrible crash that he went through. And it ultimately shifted the sport of NASCAR for years. We haven't seen interest like it's been since Dale Earnhardt was there. Like I stated, he was, quite frankly, the Michael Jordan of NASCAR, man. This article has been released, came out, I believe, yesterday, kind of detailing new information that is coming back about Dale Earnhardt crash. Dale Earnhardt issued a chilling warning just 20 laps before he was killed in the 2001 Daytona 500. And just like I stated, man, I remember this day like it was yesterday, bro. It was a lot that went down in 2001. We had 9/11. It was just a terrible year for the country. Losing Dale Earnhardt, it was just unprecedented. It shook the nation. I just remember that as a kid. It goes on to say he knew it was bound to happen, but he had no idea how soon his prediction will come true. Now, yesterday, this article was released. It stated today is the 25th anniversary of the death of the legendary Dale Earnhardt on the final lap of the 2001 Daytona 500. But just 20 laps earlier, the 7-time NASCAR Cup Champion Series had issued a chilling warning about the safety of the cars they was racing. It goes on to say NASCAR had already suffered 3 losses in the previous year, with all 3 drivers passing away from the same injury. Now, it goes on to say Adam Petty, the son of Kyle Petty and grandson of legendary Richard Petty, has passed away after a crash during a practice session of Busch Series race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in May of 2000. Kenny Irwin Jr. had suffered the same fate at the same track during a practice session for that Cup Series race that summer. Both were accidents being blamed on a stuck throttle, but in October of 2000, unfortunately, the sport will suffer yet another loss after Tony Roper was killed during a Craftsman Truck Series race at Texas Motor Speedway. 3 deaths in 3 different series, all from the same injury. NASCAR has a safety problem, and everybody, including Earnhardt, knew it. Now, that is the information that is coming out as of yesterday. Now, I believe this information did come out as some years went on, but it might have resurfaced due to it being 25 years since the passing of the great Dale Earnhardt. It goes on to say, fast forward on February 18, 2001, and lap 173 other Daytona 500. As we often see the case at super speedways like Daytona and Talladega, a scary crash caught up 18 cars and sent the number 20 car, Tony Stewart, airborne before eventually landing on top of an oncoming car of Robbie Gordon. Stewart's car then flipped multiple times before finally coming to rest in the field. The wreck looked horrific, and fans and drivers alike held their breath as they waited to see whether they had just witnessed yet another tragic death in a span of 8 months. Now, initially, when Dale Earnhardt had his crash, it didn't look that bad at all. But let's look.
And at the same time, they're strategizing.
We pulled to a stop on the front straightaway, and I'll be darned. I looked in my mirror, and I was leading the race. Dale and Dale Jr. were right behind me. And I thought about his plan, you know. I know he's a great race car driver and a champion, but this is crazy what he called out.
Junior was sort of philosophic. It was kind of strange because he got on the radio and told the crew, he says, no matter what else happens, he says, let's be thankful, because he said we've had a great week, we've had a great race, and we're so lucky that we missed that crash.
I remember him coming on there, and I can't remember if it's before or as soon as the wreck happened or during the red flag, but he said, Richard, if they don't do something to these cars, it's going to end up killing somebody. That kind of always sticks. That's one of the things I can remember. And I don't remember at what point he said that, but it was after Tony's wreck.
So that was the message that Dale Earnhardt said over the loudspeaker. Now, Mark Martin took time out of his day yesterday to speak about his friend Dale Earnhardt. And I want to share some of that footage here with you guys before we wrap up this video. I want to send thoughts and prayers out to the Earnhardt family. Still, I know, dealing with death it never ends. It just never ends. They got to live with this every day. And let's listen to what Mark.
He liked to have fun. He liked to cut up. I just saw a video that I had completely forgot from 1990. When we're battling, it's right down to the championship. I don't know, just a few races from the end of the season. I'm still leading the points. And it's at the driver's intros. He's got Arlene sitting on his lap. And he's smiling because he thinks he thinks he's cool. He's going to take my woman, And he was cutting up, like he was trying, but it was in a fun way. I told him, well,
as long as I get the championship,
which I never heard back from Arlene about that, but we were all cutting up, He liked to have fun. He liked to. People that didn't know Dale Earnhardt, just saw him on the racetrack, thought he was aggressive driver. But I said, and I still believe it's a fairly accurate statement, Dale would throw his mother in the river to win a race. Then after the race, he'd go back and pull her out because he was a good dude, had a good heart. But man, he showed none of that. He was merciless. I mean, on the racetrack, he had a lot of skill, but he had a just amazing determination. The guy would never give up. He would never just say, my car's not any good. I can't tell you how many times he beat me with a slower car, just out of sheer will. People that didn't know Dale Earnhardt, just saw him on the racetrack, thought he was.
That was Mark Martin speaking about his late great friend Dale Earnhardt, man. I want to know you guys' thoughts down in the comment section. Let me know one of you guys' Dale Earnhardt memories in the comment section. And until next time, man, shake the haters off. I'm out of here. Peace out.